we are humbled and we must act contrite. And because the British people did deliver a quite a withering view of where they think the Conservative Party are at the minute. We will examine, of course, the general election, see where it went wrong, see what messages work, what didn't, and why we ended up in the position that we are in. All of that will take place over the next few weeks and months as we seek to rebuild, as I said, provide effective opposition and move forward and look to, return to government, hopefully, in 5 years.
Yesterday was a big moment in Parliament. It was the first time we saw the Labour Party move from the opposition benches across to the government benches. Of course, we saw Keir Starmer take his oath and make his first speech as Prime Minister. And of course, it was all change from the Conservative side as well. They had been occupying the government benches for 14 years and then found themselves on the opposition benches. I have to say, I was quite impressed with Rishi Sunak's speech. I thought it's not easy to do that gig, having lost the election very, very badly. But I thought he conducted himself with a lot of grace, good humour and, a good tone as well. But of course, the Conservative Party now does have to really think about how it rebuilds itself. They had their first gathering of their shadow cabinet, the first shadow cabinet they've had in a long time. But it was pretty difficult. We have had reports in the Times today that Kemi Badenoch, the Tory leadership hopeful, was very critical of Rishi Sunak's election defeat. She said that his decision to call an early election was borderline unconstitutional. She also was very cross about his early departure from the D-Day commemorations. Well, let's now speak to two Conservative MPs. We'll start with Andrew Bowie. He kept his seat, Shadow Minister for Veterans and Conservative MP for West Aberdeenshire and Kincardine. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hi, Isha.
How does it feel just psychologically moving across from the government benches to the opposition benches? I've had to do that myself. It's quite a lot to deal with psychologically.
No, it is. And the Pavlovian dog sort of syndrome draws you towards the side of the chamber that you've been going towards, in my case, for 7 years. And obviously, I would rather be sitting back on the government benches in government, delivering a Conservative agenda. But the British people decided that's not what they wanted. They wanted a change of government. And now it's our job to rebuild quickly and effectively and to become an effective opposition, because good governments relies on good and effective opposition, and that is what our job as the Conservative Party is to deliver now.
And that's very, very important. I could not agree more. A government right from the start needs the challenge of robust opposition. You need that. The SNP haven't had much opposition in Scotland. The last Conservative government, particularly under the Jeremy Corbyn years, didn't have good opposition. So it's very, very, very important. But look, in terms of learning some of the lessons from what went before, I was really struck by Rishi Sunak's tone yesterday in the House, Andrew, and I thought, that is a great tone and that's a very decent man. And the question that many people are asking is, why didn't we see more of that tone from the Conservative Party? Because throughout the campaign, we saw some quite strange behaviour from the Conservatives, this sort of fixation with Angela Rayner that many people thought was a bit snobby and sexist, attacking Keir Starmer for wanting to spend Friday night dinner with his family, an obsession with these sort of culture wars. Do you think the Conservative Party was wrong to focus on those things and not be more statesmanlike?
Well, look, I mean, Rishi is a decent man. He's a good man. And I think you're right. The tone that he struck yesterday reflects where most of us sit. We are humbled and we must act contrite. And because the British people did deliver a quite a withering view of where they think the Conservative Party are at the minute. We will examine, of course, the general election, see where it went wrong, see what messages work, what didn't, and why we ended up in the position that we are in. All of that will take place over the next few weeks and months as we seek to rebuild, as I said, provide effective opposition and move forward and look to, return to government, hopefully, in 5 years. But, we are literally a few days out from that general election. We must take the time to examine hard and ask those searching questions about what went wrong, and we cannot be in the position again that we suffered the defeat that we did last week.
Now, there's lots of discussion as well about how this vote should work. Do you think the members should still have a vote?
Absolutely. Look, the members are the heart of our organisation, of our family, the Conservative family, and they suffered just as much as members of Parliament last week. Those are people who volunteer their time and their money and go out of their way to campaign for us. Members of Parliament, local
Okay.
councillors, members of the Scottish Parliament, Welsh Assembly. So, of course, they have to be at the heart of any decision regarding our next leader moving forward. The exact mechanisms for how we get to that point are being decided and debated within organisations like the 1922 and the party board, and all of that will become clear over the next few days and weeks. But absolutely, the members must be at the heart of any decision taken on the leadership moving forward.
Okay. Well, look, Andrew, always good to catch up with you. Thanks very much for your time. Let's now speak with Sir Christopher Chope, the Conservative Member of Parliament for Christchurch. Sir Christopher, welcome to the show. Do you agree with Andrew Bowie there that the members should still play a big role in choosing the next leader? Oh, I think his line is a little bit weird. We're just going to try and get him. Just read a couple of messages that have come in about Ukraine. Ronald says Putin wants all of Ukraine. He would use a ceasefire to step up the reconditioning of his armed forces. His promises and respect for international laws and treaties have proved to be worthless. He must be stopped, and that means supporting the brave Ukrainian people as we have promised them. And Chloe says if Ukraine and Russia negotiate a ceasefire deal, is Ukraine then able to join NATO as part of that so Russia can't invade them again? That's a very good question. I doubt Putin would ever accept that. There are no words for what they are doing to the Ukrainians. That's a really good question, Chloe, a really good point. So, Christopher, have we got you on the line? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, great. We can hear you. Thanks very much
Okay.
for your time. Thanks for joining us. I just want to get your views. What's your view on the membership still having a big say in picking the next leader?
Well, I think the membership is absolutely fundamental. And what we need to do is actually increase our membership. And I would like to see a period, say, between now and the end of the year, when we offered a half price membership because it had increased to £39, half price membership, join before the end of the year, and then have a vote to elect the new leader in
No.
2025 rather than now. And I suggest we have an interim leader in the meantime.
So on that note, Sir Christopher, I suppose just my note of caution, just from my own experience of this, we in the Labour Party introduced a cut price scheme for £3 where you could join to vote for the next leader of the Labour Party, and loads of people joined who were like Conservatives and other people who voted for Jeremy Corbyn, which was like the worst leader for us to have. Is there not an anxiety that you could have a similar sort of, abuse if that happened?
No, because it was only last year that the membership was always about £20 to £25, and suddenly it was increased to £39. So I'm not suggesting we should have a £3 membership, but I'm suggesting we should have a £20 membership, and it should be available until the end of the year, so we can attract back some of the members that we've lost.
Okay. And there was a survey out today saying that half of Conservative members want a merger with the Reform Party. How would you feel about that?
Well, I'm not so sure about merging with parties, but I think merging with ideas. I think what people are looking for is one party to represent the centre-right in British politics. Because if the centre-right is divided between more than one party, then the centre-right's not going to be able to be in elected office. So that is, I think, what people want. They want to ensure that we have a commonality of a platform and issues on which we agree. And in my own personal election in Christchurch, there were very few issues on which the Reform candidate and I disagreed.
So you're saying an alignment of ideas with Reform, but on the other hand, you did hemorrhage a lot of votes to Liberal Democrats and indeed the Green Party.
Well, we didn't actually. The Liberal Democrat vote was about the same as it was before, but what happened was that there was a covert Lib-Lab alliance, which resulted in the Liberal Democrats getting a disproportionately large number of seats compared with their popular vote. So I don't think we need to panic about the Liberal Democrats, but what we do need to do is ensure that the centre-right is united.